Real talk.
Welcome back to Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk.
We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. Hell, I want us to talk about it. At least that we can shout about it. We're building our foundation upon truth. I'm thankful now to think about it. Communicate and speak about it. The gospel of salvation is good news. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking,
Real Talk, Moorish Talk. In 2 weeks on Monday at 7 p.m. We thank you all for being a part of this show and experience with us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Peace.
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 Islam. First, I give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give honor to his last and holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to all the past leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I give honor to our present Grand Sheik and moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother R. Jones-Bey, and to his assistant, Brother A. Hopkins-Bey. I give honor to all national, state, local officials. I give honor to all viewers, to the media team, to my sisters on the panel, and to our lovely guests who have joined us here for a beautiful conversation on Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. Tonight's topic is being an imitator with or without guidance. Right. I am Sister Ingrid Ill, Temple 71, Washington, D.C. Peace.
Islam. First I rise, giving praises to our Father God, Allah, and honors to our Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to all that the sister gave honors to. I give honor where honors are due. I give honors to each and every one of you. I also give honors to our guests on the panel this evening. My name is Sister T. Britt Bay from Temple 71 in Washington, D.C. Peace.
Islam. I give praise to our great Father God Allah. I give honor to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to our past Supreme Grand Advisors and moderators, Brother C. Carmen Bey, Brother F. Nelson Bey, Brother J. Blakely Bey, and to our current Grand Sheik and moderator, Brother R. Jones-Bey. I give also to our past Grand Sheik and moderator, Brother R. Laville. I give honor to everything that the sisters and before me have given honors to. I give honor to our special guests, Brother and Sister Jones-Bey. We have a wonderful topic, and we also give honors to you all that are listening in on this conversation with us today. My name is Sister A. Ravino Bey from Temple number 21, Brooklyn, New York. Peace.
Islam. So the topic again is
wait, Sister Britt Bey, can we have our guests go ahead and
yes, you are
introduce?
Right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm excited too, sister.
I know.
Look, she ready to get started. Islam Wars. I give praise to Allah and honor to his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and honor to everything that honor was given to before me. I give honor to these beautiful sisters for the great work that they are doing in the mission of helping the prophet with uplifting fallen humanity. And I give honor to this program. And I want to thank you all for inviting me to be a part of it. And I pray that we have a good conversation.
Yes.
Peace.
Islam.
It's
I'm, I'm brother R. I'm brother R. Jones-Bey. And I like to first give praise to Almighty God Allah, the great God, and thank Him so very much for even allowing us to be in this position this evening with you all. I give honor to the last prophet in these days, Noble Drew Ali, the founder of this holy and divine movement that makes all this possible for us. Uh, it's a pleasure to be here this evening, and I look forward also to an engaging conversation. Peace.
Islam. I am nervous and excited at the same time, so forgive me from earlier. So again, this evening's topic is being an imitator, with or without guidance.
Mhm.
And the thought behind the topic was just me simply reflecting and just thinking about how, when we debase ourselves, I just was thinking about how Allah provided us with the things that we needed, which I thought was like so loving, really, because it was our choice that we ended up where we are today. But
Yeah.
yet and still, as a parent does a child, provided.
Yeah.
Allah provided for us. And sending us a pattern was one of the things that stood out to me,
Right.
because I followed after many, 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 many things before even learning of this, that Jesus was sent here as a pattern. I've always heard about Jesus growing up, but not in that way, you know. And so that stood out to me, and I wanted to talk about that. And before we get into our first question, I wanted to break down or give a definition for the word imitator. An imitator is a person who copies the behavior or actions of another, copies the way they speak, behave, or what someone else does. And then I'm going to give a definition for guidance: help and advice about how to do something or about how to deal with problems connected with your work, education, or personal relationships. Leadership, instruction, and direction. Divine guidance is Allah telling us what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. I'm
Mhm.
going to open it up to Sister Ravenel Bay, who will present us with our first question. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, so let's just jump in here. My first question for everyone is, why do you think people love to follow and not to lead?
Islam.
Hmm.
I'll go. And I love this question. And I'm gonna speak for myself. First of all, appetites, desires, and passions, because I don't know anybody that wants to admit that they are a follower. But yet, when you think in terms of the things that we were drawn to, those things ended us up having to follow after something or someone. We were enticed, or I was enticed by certain things. I might have been enticed by a certain outfit someone had, or a certain hairdo, or a certain way they spoke, you know. And I wanted to speak like that, or I wanted to dress like that, or what have you, or even if it was they worked certain jobs and was able to afford certain things, I wanted to be able to make that money like them as well. But a lot of the things and a lot of the people I chased, it ended up not so good for me. And having a pattern makes it easy. So I think a lot about the appetites is what got me started. Chasing behind those things that I desired, and now learning, you know, about those appetites and those desires, and when we feed into them. So, like I said, I don't think anybody. Oh, let me go here. Page 9. This is another part. It says men comprehend the inner life by what they see and do. They come to Allah through ceremonies and forms. Just what I was saying. Basically, by the things that we see. Nobody's going to admit that they are going to follow somebody. Everybody wants to believe they're a leader. I know I did. You couldn't tell me I wasn't a leader. But come to find out, you know, after my life spiraled downward, I discovered that I was a follower. But praise Allah for sending us a pattern, please.
And so let me just say, can you repeat the question, sister?
Why do you think people love to follow and not to lead?
Well, probably because following is easier than leading. Leading comes with a lot of responsibility. Following is simple. You just do what the other person is doing. The other person is thinking and coming up with ideas and asking people and doing this and that. And everybody else back here is just doing what the leader is instructing to do. Me and the sister Britt Bay were speaking about this following the other day, you know, and like she was saying, I know coming up, I know I had the mindset of I ain't no follower, you know, but I've been following somebody since I came into this world, literally. So I am a follower. I follow my parents, my siblings, my cousins, you know, my coaches, my teachers. You know, I still think about them and still use the tools that they gave me because I'm still following them.
Yes.
Peace.
Islam. I'm thinking that it's not always a bad thing to be a follower.
Right.
What makes the difference is what or who you're choosing to follow.
That's right.
And I think, you know, let's say we're talking about our past or how we were before we came into the temple or started having these lessons. I can say I used to follow because I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know so that I could lead the way. I didn't have enough understanding, enough knowledge about a lot of things to be the leader. And so I was a follower so that I could learn, so that I could, I learned, I followed the people that I trusted. I can't say that I actually just followed just because, you know, I can't say I had any great aspirations to be a leader. I didn't have that kind of self-confidence to think I can be in charge and I can get people to do what I say or to get people to follow me. I was kind of the opposite, you know, and it allowed me, I think, it allowed me an opportunity to grow. Because if I'm being a follower, I don't have to think about everything ahead of time or always be one step ahead because I have people following me. I have people doing what I'm doing. I think the harder job for me became when I got older and religion started to matter to me in a way that I understood that we have been taught to be God's representative here on earth. We've been taught to imitate the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Well, what is it about him that I'm supposed to be imitating? And if I'm clear about what I'm supposed to be imitating, those are virtues. Those are trying to go in a holy, a righteous way. And so it's scary being a follower in that sense because you want to have people follow a good example.
Yes.
You want to be a good example if somebody's going to follow you. You know, if you're going to be the leader and not the follower. And there are times when we're leaders and we don't even know we're the leader. You know, but by the way that we carry ourselves, the way that we speak, the philosophy that we try to live by, sometimes it makes us a leader, and we don't even know that it's happening. But that's what it is. So once I became conscious of that, it was kind of scary. But at the same time, it made me be very mindful of wanting to be a good leader or a good example for someone to follow if I'm going to have to play that role and be in that position.
So, okay, Islam. That's a very interesting question. You know, when I first started out, I didn't think about being a leader or a follower. I just wanted to be like the person that showed that they were successful in what they were doing.
Right.
I liked the way people treated people that showed that was successful. Unfortunately, I patterned myself after people who were in the way of life that was different than the way we should go.
Yes.
I liked seeing people who were independent and moving, and people respected them, and so I patterned myself after individuals who that's who I wanted to be like.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I'm not even thinking about being a follower. I'm not thinking about being a leader.
Right. Right.
Being like them, because what they're getting, if I'm like them, I'll get it.
That's right.
And so that was my main pursuit.
Yes.
I wanted to be like them, and I didn't look up. And the people who were working people, that was too slow for me. I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to be like that. I'm going to get them cars. I'm going to get that money. I'm going to get them clothes.
Yes.
I'm going to get people respecting me, and that's my mindset.
Right.
That was my mindset. I didn't know. I know after coming in contact, growing up with people used to tell me the things that they used to watch me do, and I didn't know I was being looked at from the things I was doing. I didn't know that I was being considered as being a leader. I knew people like to talk. Now I never had a problem with talking. So, and I know people would listen, but I always tried not to be what they were trying to project me to be.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Yes.
Because I didn't want the responsibility.
Right.
You know, but so that's mine early, you know. But now when I met the prophet, I had to go through a series of experiences to finally be able to understand what I didn't want to be.
That's right.
But it took a lot of experience, and I had to accept the fact that I didn't want to be like that anymore.
Yes.
You know, that those things that I had put so much value on, it didn't mean anything. And the way I pursued them, I end up in situations where, you know, this can't be all it is to this. You know, it got to be something more, because what I was seeing in my mind, my imagination had me thinking about things quite different than what it really was. You know, I heard people talk and glorify certain activities and behavior patterns, but I found out, man, that stuff was hard. It was hard doing that. And look what I had to do to get to the point where I could even do it.
Yeah.
You know, look what I had to do to myself to even get into, because I wasn't brought up like that.
That's right.
You know, but fortunately, when the prophet found me, I was ready to look. There's got to be something better than this. So I looked, I read, and I thought about what he was saying and the things that he was promoting. And he's talking about being kind, and he's talking about being generous, and he's talking about all these things that I had always, you know, fought against, you know. And so it became, now, what do I really want to do? What do I really want to be about? you know. And then he gave me a pattern. He
Praise the
subject
Lord.
he gave me a pattern which set aside the patterns that I had in the past. He showed me the light of what that was. And when he did that, you know, I changed my thought pattern, and I started accepting the fact that, you know, this is the best way for me to go at this point.
Yes.
And I plugged in, I plugged in under some very severe conditions. You know, so wasn't nobody talking about love in where I was.
Right.
You wasn't walking up and saying to brothers, showing a not a weak side, but a more gentle side for where I was. But once I started to do it, and I saw that it really started to work, because I met someone who told me, as long as you be about what you say you're about, they will respect you. They being those who were with no understanding, but they respected a person that was being about what they were projecting themselves as being about. And that was the prophet. I just had enough confidence in the prophet to try it, and everything else just fell into place.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Brother R. Jones-Bey. Was it uncomfortable making that transition to follow after the pattern of the prophet?
It was, yeah, it was uncomfortable because I wasn't I had to go about, and it wasn't no easy transition.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's no easy transition getting rid of this image to really now start to have to deal with who you really are. And you can't project that image, because that image is that image will interfere with who you're trying to be.
Yes.
So it was a transition, but I do know this. Once I started seeing the results, and under those conditions, when you start seeing results, and you're trying to imitate, you're trying to imitate him as best as I could understand. When I saw the results and I saw how people really started, man, then I was off to the races. Because I mean, I could see that this really was starting to work.
Yes.
And working with gangsters. I'm talking about working with I'm talking about start working with people. It's no joke.
Yes.
And when I started seeing that, I felt a sense of protection. I felt a sense of I felt a sense of almost like of power, like. And then when I really started to implement the teachings as best as I could, that I was able to understand, I mean, it just opened up. Just opened up. But initially, yeah, it was quite an adjustment. Quite an adjustment.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Who's got the next question for us?
I'll go. What inspires you to imitate the prophet?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
You just said it.
Yeah.
You just said, and I was getting ready to say, I can piggyback off what Brother R. Jones-Bey just said. It is the end results.
Yeah.
I was to a point where, I mean, I ain't had nowhere else to go.
Right.
So it was like I tried everything else.
Yeah.
For a better life.
Yeah.
And none of it worked. So why not? Try this.
Yeah.
Also, seeing what it was doing for others.
Yeah.
Yeah. The person that introduced me to this movement, I had known this individual for quite some time.
Yeah.
And this person, I saw consistency in their character of peace. I always saw that. So that was inspiring.
Yeah.
Just seeing that. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with Brother R. Jones-Bey. The end result is definitely it for me.
Yeah.
And it just makes me want to do it more and more, because it doesn't come back void. Every time
Yeah.
I practice these principles, following behind the prophet,
Yeah.
if I do it correctly, and if
Yeah.
I apply them correctly,
Yeah. Yeah.
not trying to add or take away anything,
Yeah.
blows me away every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with
Yeah.
that. But you know what though? What I've learned too is even when you it's yes, it's applying the principles. But even if you misapply the principles, but your intent is to apply the principles,
Okay.
the result is not as devastating.
Hmm.
See, it's you, and not only that, it shows you and it shows you the lesson.
Yes.
You
Yes.
see what I'm saying?
Yes,
As
I do.
opposed to not to, as opposed to doing it and and not even considering the principles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just trying to apply the principle
Yes.
is the blessing in itself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Praise Allah.
That's called trusting the process.
Yes, but that's the whole key.
Yes.
The whole key is to trust the process.
Trust the process. Yes.
You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and give it a chance to work. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, of course we got to grow as we go along. And the more we do, the more we are exposed to that comes from
Mhm.
Almighty God Allah Himself.
Yes.
The more we apply ourselves, the more we are rewarded for
Mm.
our effort. See, there is a blessing for your effort.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you're making an attempt to do good, then the blessing is good in return.
Mm-hmm.
And the blessing is also when you are attempting to do good and you have a little you stumble a little bit, you are able to recognize what it was that you stumbled over,
Yes.
and you can go back and make a reparation. See, he talks to you and it starts to become very he explains to you where you err it
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to do right.
Yeah.
Then now I can make the reparation and go back and correct the error
Yes.
and pray that I don't do it again.
Mhm.
See, because the whole time now I'm listening to the voice, as opposed in the past when the voice would say, don't do that. Then that other part of me would fall under the influence of the other part of me and do it,
Mm-hmm.
only to come to find out that I wish I hadn't done it. I wish I had I had listened. Well, now the same, he still tells you what to do and what not to do. He still tells you should do this according to this.
Yes.
You do this like this, and this will be the result. And it is.
Mhm.
It is.
Mm.
Yeah.
What
Sister Joe.
inspires me is that oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead,
Is that
sis.
my conditions have gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, my dear.
You know, even in the rough spots, in the rough days,
Yes.
I conditions have gotten better or right in my face,
Yeah.
right? I don't have to search for the better condition because they are all right in my face, right?
Right. That's right.
Let me say that, you know, I had been, I was feeling empty, right? And I
Right.
was in this other fellowship to save my life, and I was still feeling like I was in active addiction.
Right.
And I needed something. I needed something to make me feel something spiritual. So I
Right.
have been searching for churches to join, right?
Right.
Um, and I had went to a lot of churches, and none of them pulled me back to visit, you know, the next Sunday. And I was invited to the temple, and I had been to the temple before, right? But at this time, my heart was so open for something different because I couldn't find it, and I needed it desperately,
Right.
right?
Mm.
I found it right there at the temple. Now, I have to say this, I almost didn't join because of I was thinking, oh, this person going to think I joined because of that person and this and that and the other. And and right as I'm saying this to myself, I told myself to shut up. I
Right.
said, this is good. This is for you.
That's
This
right.
is for you. You know, this is what you've been looking for.
That's right.
Your whole, ever since you know, because listen, we're the only race whose identity have been changed over the course of time, right? And that piece alone had grabbed me when I heard Sister M. Jones-Bey read off the divine constitutions and bylaws,
Right.
right? So I knew that this was the place I belonged. So I made preparations to get planted, right? And my conditions have gotten better,
Praise the
plain
Lord.
and simple.
Yeah.
That's what inspires me.
Praise
That's
the Lord.
right.
Praise the
Sister Jones-Bey, what has inspired you to imitate the prophet?
Inspires me to imitate. Love. Love inspires me. Having the experience of seeing Allah, really being able to see Allah in people. You know, my background that I come from, I guess you would say is kind of sheltered. I come from a pretty sheltered background, pretty sheltered life. But in that sheltered life, I've seen the effects of cruelty and not liked it. I remember when I was I guess I must have been around 11 or 12 or 13 years old, that preteen, teen age period. And my experience was I had seen a lot of different men who either took advantage of women or disrespected them in their language, or did, when the thing, what you hear people say something, he's a dirty old man, acting like a dirty old man. I saw those kinds of things, but I always said to myself, there are good men out there. Allah made us, He made us good. So there are good men, there are good people. And I think what inspires me to follow the prophet is that the more I grow in these lessons, the more I can understand the lessons, the more Allah allows me to see of Himself, the easier it is to try and just accept people. And people need love. They need it. They need love. And the prophet is all about love. Learn to love instead of hate. Aid and assist your brother and sister. Within the bounds of society is how you can grow and be better, how you can have a good life for yourself. And I think if I have to say there's anything that I can put my finger on to say inspires me, I think that's it. That trying to be about the business of showing and being the love that Allah and the prophets calls us to be. People return that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me happy. And it makes me see Allah even more. I can see Allah in people even more. And I like seeing Allah in people. I like seeing that this world really isn't. This world really is an illusion we're living in. That the real is the spiritual. Is the thinking and being in a high thought. And I had not been shown it that way before. I felt that way before, but I didn't know or understand why I felt that way. And that it was okay to feel that way. And these lessons, they're helping me to be that way. So love, learning to love instead of hate. That's what inspires me. And I got a long way to go with that because I still see those parts of me that get influenced by the world. And when it does, it's like I gotta really fight it because I know myself that I can be easily influenced by the world because of wanting to be about love. You know, sometimes you think, well, let's make them happy. You'll be happy later. Let's work on helping that person to be happy. And so I sometimes get caught up in doing too much that I shouldn't do. And so I got a long way to go, but that's what inspires me.
Praise Allah.
The beautiful people that Allah created, that if we just give them an opportunity, if we take the time to look beyond the facade that most people present and see that there's Allah, that's a good feeling, and it's good to know that you can help a person to feel safe enough to show that part of themselves, because then they feel better and feel happier too. You know, yeah. One of my I don't know if I want to say it's a goal or not, but one of the things I try to do when I meet someone is that it's not the nicest person when you meet them. You know, their first impression, you're just like, oh, okay. And you draw back. I try to say to myself right away, wait a minute. It's probably a facade. They feel they got to be like that. So don't let them get you with that.
Right.
Stop and study them a little bit and see how you can get behind that, because most people don't take the time. It's like, I ain't got to be bothered. I don't have time. No, I ain't trying to go there. But I've learned that if I do take the time, that it's worth it for me and the other person. That makes sense? What I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, it does, sis.
Yes.
I just say my thought on this, on that question is, what inspires me to imitate the prophet is that leading and following, because you know what the outcome will be. You know that if you want to attain that divine love and that spirituality, I think that continues to inspire me, because inspiration could be fleeting. Sometimes you have a moment and you're inspired. I think about, women sometimes, I'm gonna diet, I'm gonna lose 5 pounds. That's not on Sunday, Monday, and by Thursday, you tired, So sometimes you need to get inspired throughout the process. And I think what also inspires me is having the ability to see these lessons through others that are applying the lessons, because then you see a possibility that you're like, oh, they were able to do this thing that I'm working on. Okay, let me go back in the lesson and see what I also need to work on. And so I think for me, that also inspires me, which I love what you said, Sister Jones-Bey, that maybe there's nothing wrong to follow, you know, because when you think about it, if we're looking at the prophet, we're following the pattern
Mm-hmm.
that is laid out for us so that we can know what that outcome will be. These instructions, divine instructions, are instructions. You know,
Yes.
I think about it as I tell my children, you know, there's a lot of recipes to cook a chocolate chip cookie, but there's one you like. Now, it's the same ingredients, but the measurements and the timing is different. The Everything is different. And so if you want this goal or whatever the thing is, and when you look at these divine instructions, it's important for us to study them so we can know what, not just what needs to go in it, but how much, you
Right.
know, how much do I need to do? When do I need to do it? And that
How
inspires
you
me
need to
too.
do it, right?
How you need to do it. You
You
know,
can whip it or you can stir it. You know,
that's right.
how do I do it?
That's right. You know, you think about you know, going, you know, he speaks with sincerity. You know, he speaks to you. You know, sometimes you're like, I want Allah to speak to me, but are you really speaking sincere? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're not. I try that recipe one more time a different way, you know, so I
Yeah.
understand what it means. So um that's my answer to your question. Thank you, Sister Birthday, for that. But Brother Jones may leaned in, so I think he got a thought coming. He came in.
You
He
know,
came
no,
in.
I mean, that's a good question. What inspires you? You know, what inspires me is, and I mean, it does. This does. I'm inspired by the opportunity to know God. I want to know God.
Mm-hmm.
I have reached a point in my development where it is important for me to know God. I got to know Him. And the prophet has shown me the way to accomplish my mission.
That's right.
See, it's not about being the leader,
Right.
because a true leader is first a follower.
Mhm.
And as he follows, he doesn't think of himself as being a leader. He just thinks of himself as having an opportunity to show his gratefulness to he who has given him the thought, the understanding to totally change to change my whole way of life. I am in a position where I can never repay God, the Lord God Allah, for what He's done for me.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
And I will be continuing to do whatever I can to show my gratitude.
Yes.
Now, that's in whatever position I may find myself. But in any position that I find myself, I'll always be a follower. You know? So yeah, that's what inspires me, the opportunity, and to show me how to do it.
Yes.
You know, I'm not always on the money, so to speak, but at least I'm not getting discouraged when I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
because a way opens up for me to continue my pursuit. And that's my quest. I got to know Him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
being in this movement, I got to know Him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it takes for me to get to that point, then I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Yes.
You know, because how can you ever repay the great God for changing your life? I mean, what can you do? I mean, do you know what I have done to myself?
Yes.
And it only took divine intervention to stop me from continuing to pursue my destruction.
Yes.
And I didn't even, and at the time, I knew it was something better, but I continued to pursue an illusion that I thought would give me some relief.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the time was right, I didn't understand it at the time. But when the moment approached for me to make that, when the crisis in my life really came, when that crisis hit, and I realized that, look, all them, they are no longer there with me. I don't have nobody now.
Yeah, that's how
I
it
got to go
is.
through this thing on my own.
Yes.
And I reached out and I asked for some help. And when how can you repay that?
I know.
Mhm.
You know, how can you pay that? I can never repay that.
Mm-hmm.
It put me on the road that had me to meet the people that I needed to meet, the experience I needed to experience. I mean, what can you say?
Mhm.
But strive to do his will, and just say in every walk of life you try to let your life show that you're thankful and grateful for what he's done for you.
Mhm.
You know, so that's really what inspires me, that opportunity. You know, because I gotta know. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your, excuse me, what was your early experience of having a God in your life? And what is your early experience of following him for yourself?
You know, I was raised by my grandmother, and when I was 3 years old, my grandmother taught me. The first thing she taught me when I went to live with her, I remember it. The first night that I started to live with my grandmother, she taught me, "Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take."
That's right.
That's what she taught me, you know?
God bless mommy and daddy and
Oh,
everybody.
yes. I mean, and she taught me that, right? And she always tried to make sure that I recognized that there was a God. You know, it was down the line that I made choices that contradicted, there was in opposition what I was taught. But she taught me that, and I'm good. And she got it in me early, so I always I had some idea of God. I just didn't know how to, and I knew it was something
Mm-hmm.
because I always heard me talking to me, and I always asked myself, who was that talking to me? Well, I'm listening, and I'm talking to me. Something is inside talking to me,
Yes, yes.
but I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't know what it was, and I mean, and then when I got 12 years old, my grandmother woke me up in the after when my once I turned 12 years old, before my grandmother went to work the next morning, she said, you know, I she said, up until this time, I've taken all your sins, all your sins. She said, but you're 12 years old now, and you're responsible for your own. You know, and of course, I didn't know all what that meant but I know that's what she told me, and I didn't let
Mm-hmm.
know what it was until a little later on down the line. But basically, to answer your question, sis, that's what you said. That's my testimony.
Okay.
You know,
But what was your early experience of following him for yourself?
when I went in,
Well, praise God.
when I went in,
Praise Allah.
see inside, I need me some help because I ain't never been in a condition like this before. And look, when I went to a meeting, and I didn't understand it, but it was something that held my attention in that meeting that was different from church, you know. And yeah, that's what it was. That's when I really said, man. And then trying a little bit, and just saw a little bit work. But at first, I was what impressed me most when I first met him was how when I was in a meeting and I heard the brothers demonstrate. In other words, they called it popping the gospel. When I heard that, and I heard them say the things that they were saying, and I didn't understand it all, but I understood bits and pieces. It aroused my curiosity, which caused me to really start to let me read some of this stuff. And that's when he got me, you know.
Praise God. Anyone else? I'll read it again. What was your earliest experience of having God in your life? And what is your earliest experience of following Him for yourself?
Islam. I kind of saw this question a little different, but after hearing Brother R. Jones-Bey speak, I looked at it differently. And I would have to say my earliest experience of having God in my life was um, when I was going, because I was going to Catholic church. And I used to be excited to help with communion and all of those things. Um, I would have to say that was my first experience. I was into it, and I can't say I understood anything that was ever spoken during service because it was a Roman Catholic church and it was a bit different. And I was used to going to Baptist church more so with my father's mother. So my experience was just actually having to be in church, period. I can concur with the prayer. You know, when I first was taught how to say my prayers at night, you know, that part too. My earliest experience of following or having God for myself, I would say when I came to the end of my road and I went to this ministry and they talked about baptism. And I was baptized as a child, but I did not understand why. I did it because my mother and father said I had to. I had a godmother there, a godfather there. The godfather was in my life throughout my teenage years. Um, the godmother was never around. I never even understood the purpose of none of those until I got older. But when I went to this ministry, um, changed my life. That is where I'm going to say that I actually felt like I had him for myself because understanding came into play about a lot of things that I heard and experienced in church early in my earlier years that I had no understanding about was more clear this time. And so it was actually one, and I understood what baptism was about, the washing and the cleansing. And I actually got emotional. And I don't know if it was the understanding because I get emotional when I get understanding. It's like a breath of fresh air. And so when I got that understanding about baptism, I wanted to do it again. It meant more to me because of the understanding that I had. I wanted to wash away the old and come up new. So it meant more to me. That experience within itself was the ultimate for my journey and this path that I'm on right now. That was the beginning for me. Peace.
Praise God.
Peace. Okay, I guess I'll share my first. So I was raised in a place that wasn't really the Moorish Temple. Where I was born in it, and then we moved into a temple. But I always knew of the lessons, and so I always knew of Allah and God. But you know, as the prophet says, as man unfolds, his God unfolds.
Yeah.
And so when you're young and you also listen to the world, you know, how my relationship to what Allah was or how he was to me evolved over time. You know, there's the authoritative, there's the protection, you know, different parts of it had changed. But I think when I started to become in my teens, and you start to experience life, you know, you want to be more on the outside than what mom and daddy want you to do. And I think for me, that's when it shifted because I really started to experience, and they allowed me to, you know, you want to be out there on a Friday night? Okay, good luck. And I didn't like that. We mean good luck. You know, I'm just thinking I'm going to have fun and have a party, but they allowed me to make the choice. And you start to see what the world is. And then as you experience life, you have difficulties in there. and I go, oh, okay, I need to call on Allah to help me through certain situations because I don't want to be here. I don't want to be going through this. And I find that continually, I continue to go to Allah, and He continues to unfold me as we go through those experiences in life. And as Jesus had said, He was going to go through all the experiences. I'm paraphrasing, so He can secure those in need. Because there was also a part of me was like, well, I'm here in the temple. Why I got to go through those things? Why I got to experience these difficulties and hardships? And that lesson really helped me, because just because we have the privilege and honor to wear this fez and have these lessons, it's still for us to experience Allah and experience those moments so we can truly say that the lesson works for me. And so I would say to you, sister, that's my experience. It's an unfolding, and it continues to unfold.
Yes.
Sister Jones-Bey, you want to comment on that question?
I'm just going to say about that I've always felt God's presence. I don't remember a time when going from just doing what you're told, like the praying at night and going to church because your parents tell you, and you go and sit with them. I just always remember God, Allah, has always that. What is life if Allah wasn't in it for me? I don't. I feel kind of like Sister Ravenobe, that the more I learn about the lessons and understand them, the more I feel like I'm growing and expanding. But it's not anything. It's hard to put in words. I can't separate a time out when I first realized about who God is, or God, and when I first realized Him or followed Him for myself. It's always been that way for me. I remember a time when, even though my family, I would consider to be pretty religious, they're very they're striving to be godlike people. I've always seen them that way. But I remember there were times when I was the only one in the house getting up and going to church. Everybody else was like, I hit it next Sunday maybe, or I very rarely saw anyone open up a Bible and read it out loud to me. And coming into the temple was the first time I actually, well, no, it's not. I was going to say it's the first time I was actually able to focus on scripture. But it was the first time I was able to break down scripture when I was. I go and I look at the Holy Quran, and when I read it, I can go back and see some of the same teachings in the Bible. And having the Quran helps me to understand what it said in the Bible that I didn't understand when I was trying to read the Bible. And I don't know, sis. All I can say is I don't remember when Allah wasn't there, wasn't talking to me, wasn't trying to. Like I said, I came from a pretty sheltered kind of life. Allah was always there. He was protecting me. He was guiding me, because I didn't have too much of a clue. You know, I went out there, I was trusting, I was this, I was that. And were it not for Allah, who knows if I'd have made it to be this age that I am now. I know I would feel empty without him.
Hmm. Yes.
You know, I recall one time in my life when I actually tried to not believe in Allah, when I tried to not have anything to do with God. I didn't want to be, and it didn't work. It didn't work. So yeah, I can't remember when distinction happened. Just always, he always was, he is, and I pray he always will be.
Amen.
I pray that I don't have to go trying to find him, because I have done something to offend him to the point where he actually does turn his back to me.
Yeah.
Well,
Praise
thank
Allah.
you. Yeah, praise Allah for your sharing. I mean, this is a wonderful topic, and we can
Yes, it
keep
is.
talking. We didn't even get through half the questions at all that we had prepared, because the dialogue, the content of the conversation was wonderful. And so I want to thank you both for joining us today, Sister D. Jones-Bey and Brother R. Jones-Bey. Thank you for sharing your insights, because the
Yes.
point of this conversation is to share and inspire to others who are on the path, curious about being on the path to knowing God more, knowing themselves better. And we hope that they will learn so much from this. I want to thank our viewers today for joining us and being a part of this conversation. I have so much to tell you. If you want to know more about the Moorish Science Temple of America, you got to find one that's nearby. There's so much happening right now. July 20th is our Authority Day, and we have a Moorish American Independence Day Authority Day celebration happen in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Temple number 11. Sister Hopkins Bay will probably be there. You know, she's normally with us. We send in our love.
Yes.
If you're near there, check it out. As well as we have Temple number 5. They're having a Moorish festival. That's on July 27th. That's St. Louis, Missouri. Got to go check that out if you happen to be in St. Louis. Temple number 3 is having their Authority Day and grand opening celebration. That's Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Sister R. Higgins Bay, the Grand Sheik, is there. We're sending you love and praise Allah for the wonderful things you're doing there. Our charter temple number 34, that's in New York, our sister temple with me in New York, July 28th, they're celebrating that. That's Brother W. Clinton and Sister Sealsville. They're having their Charter Day celebration. It'll be in person and Zoom. Check out our Facebook, because you can get the link and join in. Hold on, there's more. If you're in Michigan, temple number 25, Unity Weekend. Brother Sifu Kwabe, the Grand Sheik, is holding that with the Moors there. That's going to be July 27th and 28th. So no, you got something to do in July. We got it. And then in August 11th, Temple number 28, Glassboro, New Jersey, is having their Family Day celebration. It is a wonderful, wonderful event. Children love the event. I was a child, love that event. You go, you have fun, you get to see everyone. But of course, you know, if you can't wait, Friday, don't worry, come back right here, Facebook and YouTube. You'll see our Holy Day meeting service at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday at Sunday Schools, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week, Wednesday, Sakara Sacred Healing. Brother and Sister Barry Bay will be there. You know you got to dial in for that one, because you don't know what they're going to do, but you know you're going to be inspired. You got to be there. But if you need any inspiration, just check out our Facebook,
Right.
plug in,
Praise
and be a part. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. And with that, I'm gonna take us out and close out, and I'm gonna just say peace.
Peace, Lord.
See.
Girl talk. Real talk.
Welcome back to Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish
Moorish
Talk.
talk. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish, talking real talk. Real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking Moorish, talk real talk. Real talk. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish, talking real talk. Real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking Moorish, talk real talk. Real talk. Allah want us to talk about it. At least that we can shout about it. We're building our foundation upon truth. Unfaithful now to think about it. Communicate and speak about it. The gospel of salvation is good news. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish, talking real talk. Real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking Moorish, talk real talk. Real talk. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish, talking real talk. Real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking Moorish, talk real talk. Real talk. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish, talking real talk.
Moorish Talk in 2 weeks on Monday at 7 p.m.
We thank you all for being a part of this show and experience with us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.